Hi, intrepid viewers. Lena here, coming to you from tomorrow, which is Thursday. Do you have a sense too that the news cycle's picking up again? Maybe it was that New Year sort of lull in politics, and now all of a sudden it's kicking off. But one of the things that caught my attention this morning, remember Lev Parnas? There was Lev and Igor. And Lev got jail time for helping Giuliani and the Yeti. He's just been released from jail and is now on home detention. But he's had a little think while he was away, and he's saying, apart from the obvious, that he's still taking the line, I thought there was a deep state issue at the time. I thought I was helping. And now I realise there isn't a deep state issue and I was working for the bad guys. So that's interesting. But one of his, two fabulous revelations. One was he said when interviewed, I think it was on Ari Melba, that guys, including Pence and Lady Queen of Swords Graham, Lindsey Graham, were blackmailed for something. So there was a hint of that. You have to have a look. But the other one was that Hunter Biden's laptop saga, he said, was a setup from day one. We have it from the horse's mouth. Okay, so let's have a look, because Hunter Biden's legal team is now hitting back. Let's have a look. And God knows he's got 4 or 5 years of built up libel and slander to draw on. Let's have a quick look at Hunter Biden's court case. Let's have a look here. Oh, there he is. Okay. So, surprise, I think it's going to be good for him in the sense the world is the end of a cycle, and I'd like to think the world is watching this issue, but although some people, nerds like myself, might be following it, I'm here to break the news. The majority of the world is not following this stuff in the fine print, but I think it represents he's had enough. It's time to go for it, and there will be a sense of completion. He does get the 5 of Cups, but this is in the past position. I think this was losing the laptop. I think this represents Hunter when he was struggling with issues, you know, and as I said on the last video, both he and his father have dealt with so much loss, so I'm not surprising it's caught up, but I wanted to have a new look at this today. He will get a settlement. The King of Pentacles, it will actually set him up for life. And Knight of Cups, it's like he has to get rid of all this. It's not easy being the surviving child of a serving president and all of that stuff. I think he'll come into his own when this court case plays out. I'm feeling a bit more positive about that. And I think he's much more artistic than we realised, and perhaps even he realises. So this is the arts. It could be he makes a film about it or something. I doubt that'd happen while his father's still pres, but you never know. Something about that. Okay. Nikki Haley, she blew that one. She's always been ambitious. We know this. But this week, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now, Marjorie Taylor Greene, look, apart from looking like she's interviewing for the next round of Desperate Housewives or something, she doesn't like other women. have you noticed a pattern here? And she's now described Nikki Haley as Bush in heels. Could be worse. But she's one of those name-calling mean girls. Isn't she just frightful? Absolutely frightful. Now, in terms of problematic women, there's Liz Harris, Arizona State House. She's not going to vote for anything until the election's overturned. I love that. Now, we've got more developments in the Yeti versus E. Jean Carroll. And you notice his people came out and said, now he wants to give a DNA test. Too late, pet. Sorry, you've blown that. There's a period of time when new evidence can be introduced. The judge is reading this as a stalling tactic, and it just means that Trump can say, I offered a DNA test and they didn't take it. Whereas legally, it wasn't acceptable at this point. You know, he's such a weasel, absolute weasel. Let's see what's happening here. I just want a quick look at Matt Gaetz. Things keep happening around Matt Gaetz. Now, he asked some guy to lead the Pledge of Allegiance at some civic event recently. The guy was an ex-serving member. And he did. The problem was he's out on bail for having killed his friend, allegedly having killed his friend. And then Matt Gaetz had to go back and apologise to the family. So step right up. You are about to be charged with homicide, so you'd be the perfect person to lead the Pledge of Allegiance, wouldn't you? What do they think the Pledge of Allegiance means? Let's have a quick look at Matt Gaetz. He must have a good astrology chart or something, because he's been let off the hook for trafficking minors across state boundaries. But let's see. Oh, what turns up here? Minors across state boundaries. Oh, how funny is that? Oh, my word. Oh, dare to hope, dare to dream. Children. Mind you, they weren't 8 and 9, you know, they were 16, 17 or whatever. Crossing water symbolically could be a river. This case might come up again. However, he has the magician card in a very strong position. And let me remind you, particularly if you're learning tarot, using my arm here, it's a very high-tech channel, Tarot Down Under. All the major arcana have base meanings all the way to their most exalted meanings. He gets the base magician, which is prepared to use anything to survive, right? So this is bad juju stuff. He will go to any length. He gets the hermit. There are still secrets to be revealed about Matt Gaetz. Let me quickly ask with my clarifiers. The reason we know that the case collapsed was the other guy, Greenberg or whatever his name was, his ex-best friend, was considered an unreliable witness. Therefore, the case against Gaetz wasn't strong. Let's see if another witness or two will come forward. Can that be reopened? Am I just dreaming? Let's have a look. Oh. This is, look, this is a young woman who's very upset. This is a letter being written. We still call them letters, but you know what I mean. It could be in any form. Because found that this could be the mother of a young woman who was also dragged into Gaetz's Playboy palace ideas or something. I think a mother is pressuring a young woman to say, don't let him get away with this. I just had a flash. You know, he was married for 2 hours back in the day, you know, a few years ago. He married someone who instantly realised it was a big mistake. Her sister, do you remember Matt Gaetz's baby wife's new sister? I think it could be something to do with her. I think she knows something. And probably her sister's going, leave it alone. You're always interfering in my life, or something sisterly. Maybe make a note. Wouldn't that be good? Now, on to the big boys. Jack Smith. Now, in terms of the Yeti's document case, he's making an argument to the judge that, what's the legal term for it? To get an exemption on attorney-client privilege. And it's called a crime fraud exemption. And so that means normally, as we know from all the movies, apart from those of you out there who are lawyers, and I know there's quite a few of you, normally attorney-client privilege is sacrosanct. However, a case can be made in terms of crime and fraud for that to be waived. And I think that's what happened in the Manafort case. And so there is a precedent. So if the judge that Jack Smith is dealing with in terms of the document case says it's off the table, things should happen very quickly. With Manafort, apparently, it went on and it was only days after that, but it took that judge's ruling. So my question is that judge going to give Jack Smith the go-ahead, basically? Let's have a look. Jack Smith, the documents case, and the judge. Oh, they're talking about it. Oh, oh, oh. It's not a no. It's a not yet. Okay. So it's in discussion. Both sides are being heard. This is temperance, the card of balance. And legally, there's a case to not do it, you know. The hanged man, meaning not yet. And then a bit of action. I think this is actually Jack Smith coming back in after the judge is going, oh, I'm not sure, and oh, what if, and oh, then. He comes back in with something quite ferocious and compelling. But we won't know just yet. Now, here's the 3 and 4 of Pentacles. I think we're going to find out, even if it's bad news, it's not the end of the case or anything. It just means things would have been quicker and easier for Jack Smith. See these? They're related. They're next door to each other. So 3 or 4, I doubt it's days, probably weeks. So I'm going to say within 3 or 4 weeks, we'll have a result on this. And hopefully I've been overcautious and it'll be sooner. But look, it can't be soon enough. I mean, we're aging here. I mean, when I started this channel, I was in my early 60s and we're still waiting for justice. Oh, it's outrageous. All right, so I have another couple of questions. Well, of course, Missouri lawmakers. Now, just as the United States has experienced its 68th mass shooting since the beginning of the year, we're only 6 weeks into the year. 68 mass shootings. What's... This is not normal. Well, it is normal for America, but it's not normal for the rest of the world outside a war zone. So the thing, and on top of all this, the Missouri lawmakers have made it legal for minors to carry weapons openly in public places. No safety checks, no training, no background checks. Who'd need those? Give them to any 15-year-old who hates the world. Awesome. Some of these kids can't get into a PG-13 movie. But no. The rest of the world does not understand. And remember when those 3 million women, just after the Yeti was elected, 3 million women got out in the streets. I'm old school, you know. Imagine if 5 million or 20 million people got out in the streets saying no, you know. Now, Ron DeSantis, who has taken fascism to a brand new level in Florida, and the banning of the books and the clearing out of the libraries and letting teachers resign in droves, not replacing them with trained teachers. It's just disgusting. So I'm looking here. Will parents get together in Florida in a class action, basically saying the governor, because he's taken on the college board, it's at every level of schooling, saying you are denying my child an education, what could be construed as a fundamental education in a secular society. If a public school should not be treated as a church school. They're not teaching science. They're one step away from the earth is flat. You know, there's got to be a case. The anti-science, the anti-history, you know. Will there be parents who will form a class action? Or is it just my fantasy from Australia? Florida parents, there must be some sensible people in Florida. Don't answer that. Okay, Florida parents. Maybe, but they don't know how to do it. Okay, here we go. They feel like their hands are tied. Where to start? No, they're not. No, they're not. Not just because this is the Eight of Swords and there's a story. No, your hands aren't tied, actually. Are people afraid of their neighbours, of their extended families? Are they afraid of these magophiles, these little maggots running around? This is the brink of fascism, and people have to move on from this paralysis. Okay, now, it may not be easy, I grant that. Could be worried about your kid being targeted at school. So, well, your child is being targeted, you know, by these fascists who are determined to have an ignorant population group that is easy to control. So if you're worried about targeting, think of it in those terms. I'm more sympathetic than I sound. I'm being a bit thin. Anyway, as you all must know now from watching all of us on YouTube, the Eight of Swords is being restricted a bit out of your own making by getting in touch with your inner nature, what is important. You can shimmy out of those bonds, take off the blindfold, step through the gap in the fence. There must be a case to answer. People cannot just lie down and let this go ahead. But people are conflicted. I think I'm not the first person to think of this. Of course I'm not. And some want to do it this way and some want to do it that way, and others are going, what if, and maybe we can do it like this. They're still at that stage. But I think someone's going to come up with a really good idea, like a crystal clear idea of how to do this. This is my Best of America card. I think this is what's happening at the moment. So every time parents turn around, there's another sword around them about their child no one being able to talk about being gay or being black or being anything at all. This is on the horizon. I love this. And moving away to smoother waters. I think this is how you have to approach these people. You have to attack them legally, and the legal system is far from perfect, and particularly in Florida. I'd like a big shout out to one of my viewers, Michael, who knows all about the law in Florida. Blessings, Michael. But there is enough, and they might be able to pull something off. Okay, so I have to go now, but you know how much I love you. I love you this much. Okay, see you soon. Keep those comments rolling in, and ciao for now.